Dance has been a means of human expression for centuries. Most, if not all, cultures around the world include some form of dance. And just like any other aspect of culture, characteristics of dance vary widely throughout the world. But no matter what part of the world you find yourself in, or what style of dance you observe, one thing is sure to stay the same. Dance involves movement. Our awareness of our own movement and the position of our body parts is referred to as kinesthesia, and there's no doubt that dancers are well practiced at being kinesthetically aware. From fancy footwork to the slightest arm movement, dancers have to learn to control and monitor every part of their bodies. Kinesthetically familiar patterns of movement, ones that we typically perform without giving them any thought, are called kinesthetic melodies. We initiate actions such as brushing our teeth and tying our shoelaces, but there's no need for us to remain consciously aware of what we're doing, because our bodies already remember how to complete these tasks. Likewise, once a dancer has learned a piece of choreography well, he or she doesn't have to think about it in order to perform it. It just happens. It is built into his or her kinesthetic memory. But unlike our memories of what we were like when we were children or what we had yesterday for lunch, kinesthetic memory, like kinesthesia itself, is not a cognitive mechanism. The complex movement sequences executed by dancers in solos, duets, and ensemble pieces epitomize the human capacity for sequence learning. Research using dance material as stimuli is significant for memory research because, unlike digits, letters, or spatial locations, the to-be-remembered movement items not only extend in time for some seconds, but the sequences of items also unfold over time. A question that arises is how sequences of complex dance movement are coded in human memory. So how does a dancer learn and remember when and how to move in a specific way during a specific time? What a dancer remembers when he or she is performing is not something that has been learned verbally or academically, but a sequence of movement that has been programmed more or less into the dancer's body. Although the acquiring of a dance may begin by observing a sequence or listening to a choreographer's instructions, choreography has to be learned by experiencing the action, not just by verbal instruction. While verbal instructions may help, a dance cannot fully be learned unless the dancer experiences it for him or herself. Knowing the structure of movement is not the same as experiencing the sensation of movement. Dancers use a variety of strategies to help encode movement sequences into their bodies. In dance training and performance, mental imagery of movement is frequently used as a tool for learning and optimizing movements. Dancers use mental imagery in creating new material to exercise the memorization of long, complex phrases and to improve movement quality in terms of spatiotemporal adaptation and artistic expression. Visualizing the movement sequences that a dancer has already kinesthetically learned can help the dancer to remember these sequences. But once a dancer steps onto the floor, there are more important things to think about than choreography. For instance, when dancing in an ensemble, dancers must remain attentive to their fellow dancers in order to synchronize their movement. Dancers in a group not only have to learn complex movement patterns for themselves, but they also have to learn to coordinate their movements to be synchronized with each other. These performers have learned and practiced a routine lasting somewhere between 4 and 5 minutes, and are now putting their kinesthetic memories to the test. For the next 4.5 minutes, these dancers have to focus their attention entirely on their location and movement relative to their fellow dancers, as well as their partners, which means very little energy is invested in thinking about what their bodies are actually doing. In fact, consciously thinking about what he or she is doing can actually interfere with, rather than improve, a dancer's performance. When the brain tries to remember what the body has already learned, the two don't always agree. So it's best for dancers to simply start dancing and focus on something other than the movement sequence itself. Moreover, once these dancers step off the floor, they're not likely to remember what they just did. But somehow, these dancers manage to perform the entire routine not only as individuals, but as a team. And their success is all due to the ability of the human body to reproduce movement sequences that have been previously stored.